Good morning, everybody, and aloha. Welcome to Just Talking 24, number 8. I had this week's subject all mapped out and ready to go. And you know how sometimes something happens and it changes everything totally? Well, that's what happened today. I'm going on a different tangent. And what happened was I went to my local Sam's Club, and in the parking lot, I met my friend Russell. Russell is a retired Honolulu Police Department officer, HPD officer, and he's working for the state now. I think he told me, and so I met Russell when he was in patrol, and then I believe he went to traffic accident investigation or TAIS, and then he went back to patrol, and then he finished his career as a sergeant in JCPD. JCPD, for you folks that don't know, is Juvenile Crime Prevention Division. And so we are just talking, how's everything going and everything. And he said, because he's still involved in law enforcement, yeah, he's still LEO. But he said, man, it's really changed. I said, yeah, I know, I saw. And, he we knew each other in the late 70s, and police work was way different back then. I mean, we didn't go around kicking the crap out of people, but just people's attitude toward the police department and policemen. He said, yeah, it's really changed. He says he serves warrants, and he says these these young kids, females, males or females, they give him heat. They said no respect. He goes, what's happening? And I told him, well, it's not, well, yeah, we are changing. But, like he said, what's happening with the world? And I told him it's not worldwide necessarily. That's what we're seeing is the implosion of America. And what I mean by implosion, think of there's a YouTube uh, video that shows what happens when you put a sledgehammer under intense pressure. Okay, what happens is the molecules of the material in the sledgehammer, they get compressed, and you can compress them only so much, and then you're going to have an action, which is the compression, and a reaction, which is a release of pressure, and the sledgehammer head will explode. The same thing happened to those five guys that went deep sea diving for the Titanic wreck, and you know they're under it's tremendous pressure. People aren't aware. At sea level, it's 14.7 pounds per square inch. That's the pressure, okay, air pressure. Every 33 feet you go down, it's called 1 atmosphere. The pressure doubles. So you got 14.7, then 35.4, and then 70.8, and it just keeps doubling, doubling, doubling. And if you do the math, and I haven't done the math, but that um, Titanic is supposed to be under 30 something thousand feet. I mean, it is down there. Okay. And I remember once I figured it out, it was like 14 tons per square inch or something like that, some kind of ridiculous, amount. But what happened was, once you get a what they call a catastrophic event, in other words, just a total breakdown of the integrity of the shell, you're gonna get this pressure just come in, and it's gonna hit their bodies, and their bodies will compress and then explode. And I can't believe that the reporters didn't know this, and they asked the question, "Oh, did you guys find the bodies?" Okay, basic, school science, brother. Implosion, implosion just means to blow up. Now, implosion means from the inside, explosion means from the outside. That's that's what it means. M is in, X is out. And so I told him America is imploding. We're going to explode from the inside. And I said, it's happening already. Look at the fragmentation. And, Russell's cool. I can speak like this. I can talk like that with him. And I said, look at the fragmentation of the family. Look at the fragmentation, how they keep the popolos. And let me explain. Popolos, in Hawaii, we call black people either popolos or paeles. Popolo is a small little berry that when we were growing up, it grew abundantly around the neighborhood. It starts off green and it goes to dark, dark purple, almost black. And it's very sweet. And if you got hungry, you just grab some berries. And they're very tiny. They're the size of BBs. But they're called popolos. And that's, because they're black. And we wanted to call, black people. Because there's a difference between the African American black and Polynesian black. Because Polynesia, if you ever saw pictures depicting Kamehameha the Great, this man was almost 7 feet tall, and he was as dark as the Ace of Spades. My grandfather, Grandpa Moki, well, my granduncle, but I call him Grandpa, Grandpa Moki. The joke was when we took pictures at night, if Grandpa didn't smile, we would never see him. You know, so in Hawaii, we don't play that color, the color card. We call them popolos, which is that for the little bee, or paele. Paele is black, is the Hawaiian word for black. And you might also hear papa'a, but papa'a is black, the burnt. When you like roast barbecue a steak, and you get that burnt part, that black part around. That black part is the papa'a part, the burnt part. That's why if a person stays too long in the sun, you have to, oh, the brother is papa'a, man. He may be all red, but he's burnt. That's all papa'a means, black, burnt. But anyway, I said, they're they we're dividing it even more. They got their own TV stations, their own everything, their own awards, their own everything. I said that doesn't help the country. That divides the country. And the people are saying, yeah, it's good, it's good, it's good. No, it's not good. It's not. We're not unified anymore. We're supposed to be one nation, indivisible. Indivisible, cannot be broken up. But yet we are. We don't pledge the allegiance to the flag anymore. I told them, and that's what's happening. And it's nothing that someone wanted to. It's what happens naturally. I mean, it's happened over and over and over again. Great societies, great governments, great legacies, they just they come up and they go down. They rise and they fall. Everything in the world, everything is cycles. And America is just going through the end of its cycle. Historians and guys that study history and governments and stuff like that, they've said that the average dynasty or government lasts only 250 to 300 years. And we started in 1776. And so 2026 will be 250 years. I mean, I don't make the rules. I mean, it's just man. I've told you, human beings are man. We're animals. Man is an animal. Man is a creature of habit, and man tends to follow the same general principles. And it's something I just, like I said, I'm a realist, right? And so I just accept it. And you can't change it. I respect what President Trump is, trying to do, because he saw America coming down from its greatness. I never saw, America in its greatness. The greatness to me was the late 40s, early 50s. That's when we were great. The late 50s, early 60s, we really we were riding the top already. We had gone to the top and we were just riding the top. And then because of, our arrogance, I wish there could be another word, but that's the word that sets it. If because of our arrogance, we just coming down. When I was growing up early in the 50s, and I don't know why. Well, they called us the ugly Americans. And every time I hear that ugly American, a picture comes to my mind. And the picture is this movie trailer, well, a movie poster that showed Orson Welles in Citizen Kane. And I don't know why that picture just comes to my mind when I hear ugly American. A lot of people, they don't like Americans because we arrogant. The Americans think that they're the best. And for a little while we were. Nowadays, made in America doesn't mean what it used to. I noticed that the quality, there is no real quality. There's still European, excuse me, European quality. Made in China is what used to be known as made in Japan. I remember back in the 60s, when they said, "Oh, made in Japan," we all laugh. Yeah. And then Japan got better with their electronics. They started to really come ahead, but they didn't. They improved on the electronics only to a certain extent, and then they took that and they brought it back to America. Now, America, we improved it a little and we sent it to the Chinese. And then the Chinese, I don't know what they do. They, but they can mass produce it. All of our chips and everything, most of them made in China, Taiwan, Singapore, wherever in the East. And they're great at duplicating stuff, copying stuff. And they improve it, but the thing is, their testing is so lax because when you've got a population of 1.43 billion, people are numbers, and they're expendable. Once you reduce a human to numbers, and humans, everybody does that. Every government I know doesn't see their population as people; they see it as numbers. Look at war. Okay, that's the only example that comes to me is war. They're planning a campaign. What is one of the statistics or one of the figures that they put inside? Acceptable losses. You know what that means? A loss is a person that's going to die, but it's acceptable. He died by friendly fire. Okay, he's still dead. But it's numbers, just numbers, numbers, numbers. And like I said, when you got 1.43 billion, you know, more expendable. You are more expendable. And especially if the hierarchy knows this and they manipulate the numbers. They can manipulate their numbers really well. That's what they did. That's why China, for a while, about 20, 25 years, they stopped population growth. Remember? They had a limit. You only can have one child or something like that. They were culling. They were holding back their population. Why were they holding it back? Because it was just getting too expensive and too big for them. But now they removed it. Why? Because they got 20 years to build up a population that may need and be able to expand to other places, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't want to be one of those with the conspiracies and all that, but that's what it looks, and it's perfectly, it's logical. That's the thing. It's logical. If you want to take over a company, what do? Do you buy the company out, or do you wait for the company to go bankrupt, and then you can pick it up in in bankruptcy court for pennies on the dollar? Not even penny, maybe percentage of pennies on a dollar. A good example is Sears. Sears and Roebuck. But nobody wants it because their two money makers, Kenmore and Craftsman, have already been sold. Because Sears didn't have anything else really. They were a department store. They sold. They were like eBay in person. They're not online. They were in person. That's what department stores are. They're just retailers. They just sell other people's goods. But Sears had Kenmore and they have Craftsman. Ace Hardware, I think, believe picked up Craftsman because I see their advertisements. Kenmore is still part of Sears, I think, because we have a Kenmore appliance store, and in Sears, their appliance repair business is still good doing, is still profitable, still viable. But Sears as a chain, as a store, is no longer there, and people are not going to pick it up, so it's just going to just fade away into memory. Sad, but true, and that's the change. The change is coming up, and America is going to be the same way. We're going to implode. He asked me, what do you mean, like people going to invade us? I said, no, it's going to be a non-invasion. What? I said, yeah, it's going to be an invasion, but a non-invasion. And I explained to him, they're going to use a different tool. Okay, they're not going to beat us militarily, because there's no winner on that. And the other, and I'm talking primarily the Orient. There is a organization, I forget the name. I think it's called PIC, but it's Russia, China, and India. They're forming like a union. Okay, India and China, they got the numbers. Okay, India's number one population, 1.48 billion. China's number two at 1.43 billion. Add those two together, that's 2.9, almost 3 billion people. Russia has 180 million, almost a little over half of what America has. So put together, those three countries have 3 billion people. India's trying to come up in the technological field. They're doing very well. China, technology, production, EPA bending, total destruction. But China is, they're formidable. They're an economic power. But when you get those three together, Russia has the land. They have natural resources. They have the possibility. It's just that because of their latitude, where they are geographically, it's going to be hard to get a lot of their materials. But it is there. I mean, they've got oil reserves. They've got, semi-precious and precious metals. They have a lot. So they have that to offer. And when you add those three up, they're a very formidable union. And they're just going to wait the U.S. out. And if they can get together on economic, and that's, to me, that looks like the biggest thing, money, money, money. But if they can get their crap together, it's possible that their monetary unit can take over the U.S. dollar. Right now, the U.S. dollar is the unit of barter in the world, and barter is just exchange. Loan, what, note of tender, yeah, note of tender, unit of barter. It's the money of the world. Okay, but if you notice around the world, other countries are starting to use their currency instead of ours. And I've said this before, and you look at it, it is true. Other countries are using their money. The euro's take getting strength in the Europe. Okay, um, in Southeast Asia, they're using their currencies even more. And if, like I said, Russia, China, and India get together and make a accepted currency with with 3 billion people behind you, which is what is that? Eight, 30, 39 to 42% of the world's population or something like that. I don't know. You gotta do the math. It's too much. It's too many zeros right now. But yeah, if with that population, that much, strength behind you, that's a formidable foe. And they don't have to worry about taking over America. They just go and let America just go its route and just let it happen. The only thing sad is, the white man has been in power, for, geez, how many thousands of years, you know, and maybe, well, it was over 1,000 years. So you kind of get used to it, right? You forget, how it used to be before. Before the white man took over, it was the brown guy. The Roman Empire, they're brown, you know. And you had the Byzantine, Hannibal, those, they had it for hundreds or maybe even thousands of years. But after the Industrial Revolution, everything speeded up. Even the world's population, I was looking the other day at the graph of the world's population, and in 1800, the world's population was little over a billion. And then the Industrial Revolution came in, and our ability to produce more food, went. And from 1800 to 1930, I believe, it grew to 2 billion. Okay, 130 years. And then from 1930 to 1945 or something, even despite having a war, our population grew to 3 billion, and then 4, and then 5, and now we're at 8. Our ability, not only industrial, to raise and gather and distribute more food. And you see that with insects, you see that with animal life. If there's abundance of food, the populations grow. And if, in times of drought and everything, and there's no food, the populations go down. Well, man is an animal. It's the same thing is going to happen. If the food sources dry up, this population has to drop because you can't support a population. But people got to eat, and the same thing's going to happen with the U.S. Going to have plenty. We have plenty now. We have so much. We waste. Oh, it's the amount of waste that this country does is unbelievable. And then when we don't have, what's going to happen? Everything population going to shrink, and it's going to become weak. And we cannot see our military becoming weak, but it will. Um, it's just going to happen, and you can deny it. You can jump in a river all you want, swim all you want, but it's going to happen. And I don't think, I don't believe I'll be around. I'm glad I won't. But what about our kids or our grandkids? They definitely will see it. I predict that. Okay, I'm not Nostradamus, and I'm not a great seer, but that's not really premonition. That's common sense. It's not that I want to happen. It's just it's gonna happen. Like San Andreas fault. Uh, they say that California is gonna fall into the ocean, right? Or it's gonna break off or something like that. Or the big one's coming, Yellowstone's going to erupt, and these are all scientists. And I believe them. It's going to happen because it's happened before. It'll happen again. And instead of man thinking he can control nature, that's a good one. He's got to learn to live with nature. You got to learn to accept it. Get off your arrogance. We're not strong. Man wants to be stronger than God. Really, that's what man does. Look at the computer. Yeah, what is the computer for? The computer, they tried to make a brain. It's an electronic brain. It, we can reduce our thoughts, or our quantitative. We can quantify everything. If you can quantify something, you can turn it into integers, or code. You can write it in code, and you can process it way faster than you can consciously. But what the computer can't do is put the human thing in. Like we said, the human touch. That's the other side of quantitative thinking. It's the emotional thinking. You can't quantify emotions. Well, you can try. I mean, like the nurses ask you, oh, on a scale of 1 to 10, where's your pain? They can, if they can put it, but everybody's six is not, the same. Some people, if they say six, their six would be my one, or my two, because I can take a lot of pain. And my six can be another guy's two. He can take even more. It's subjective. Anything that's subjective cannot be accurately quantified. But they asked, just to give you a reference point, you know, they go, 10 is the worst pain you've ever felt. Well, you know, considering that, and the worst pain I've ever felt is I got kicked in a scrotum, and you get a white flash. It's more sore than a taser. And I've been tased, okay? The first time you get tased, yeah, it knocks you down. But once you know how it feels, the second time you get tased, you can fight it. And when these guys are loaded or drunk, you tase them and nothing. Nothing. I've seen kids dusted with that angel dust thing. And, they're little 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing pounder. And, I couldn't hold them by myself. I had to have help. And at that time, I was, 6'3", 350, 360. I was big. And I couldn't control them. And that was from angel dust. So it's all subjective. But yeah, so me and Russell were talking about it, and that's what we came up with. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, because we can't stop it. All we can do is try and just identify things and just go along with it. And that's what's happening today. The kids are just the United States Constitution has gotten so many. The legal system has ripped so much holes in it. It's a sieve. I hate to say it, but yeah, it's barely hanging on. And with every new case that the Supreme Court comes up with, and it gets weaker and weaker and weaker until finally there is a limit. There's a limit to everything. There's going to be a limit to that. It's going to tear. And I just don't want to be around with it. And I hate to be such a bearer of bad news, but this is reality. Remember, I'm a realist. And a realist, that's what you do. The positive side is that man will still go on. Remember, I'm a racist. I love the human race. The race will still go on. This is not the end of the human race. It's just going to change a little. It's going to be different. And the ones that have are going to be the have-nots, and the ones that have nots might be the haves. Who knows? I don't. But there are going to be changes. Anyway, it's been fun. It's been a great one. And like I said, what I plan to do, I'm going to do later on. But from me to you, I just want to say, 30 minutes already. Fast, yeah. And I just want to say, ahuiho, malamapono, and aloha. Bye bye. Take care.